Hey everybody, Jonathan Scott with Vegas Nonstop. Also, hey Vegas, and this is going to be the cannabis segment that's going to give you all the information that you need to know about Vegas lounges and what's happening here in fabulous Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of North America. And we're going to start with Andrew, and you're going to have to pronounce your last name for me.
Muir.
I would have got it right.
Yeah.
Muir. Andrew Muir, founder and CEO, Top Shelf Bud Tending.
That's correct.
Hey Bud Tender.
That's right.
Kind of like that, right? Director of Operations for Connect Hospitality.
Yeah, not connect, connect.
Not Connect, but not Connect, but Connect.
We still connect the dots, though.
Okay, I'm going to read it a little bit. Andrew's often quoted in Forbes. Hi, you want to toast? We can toast a little bit.
Yeah.
Here's to you and here's to me, and if by chance we disagree, F you, here's to me. You still have a cocktail here. So, Tony Abogano was here earlier trying to get us wasted, really, on bourbon. So we're going to do our best to get through this segment in a sobering kind of a fashion, which is not going to happen. It's Friday night here in Las Vegas, so let's talk about, you're often quoted in Forbes, High Times, Rolling Stone, CNN, Fox, Vice, there's a Vice magazine?
Viceland, I was on the show Most Expensivest with 2 Chainz.
I don't know.
2 Chainz, it's a rapper. Pretty famous
Well, that's
guy.
probably why I don't know.
I got him high on TV, which was a lot of
You
fun.
did?
Oh, yeah.
Well, now everybody's high on TV.
Well, yeah.
Not everybody, Bill
Before
Maher
it was,
is.
more common.
Newsweek, numerous mainstream publications for expert insights related to on-site consumption, operations, regulations, and the evolution of cannabis hospitality.
That's what I live and breathe.
Let's start with that. How'd you get started in cannabis hospitality?
Well, I was having issues with anxiety way back in the day in like 2012, and I was using cannabis illegally in Ohio. I moved to Colorado to become a medical patient out there.
What's high in the middle and round on both ends? Ohio. You never heard that?
Man, no.
You've never heard
I'm
that?
from Ohio, and I didn't
Pretty
know.
good, huh?
Oh my God.
I pulled that right
This
out
guy.
No way.
So
Okay.
I started working in dispensaries out in Colorado and kind of cutting my teeth in the industry. And then I noticed we were going to kind of private parties and underground get-togethers out there, and nobody was being served any cannabis. It was kind of just bongs laying on tables and edibles just out everywhere. People consuming too much. And I knew there was a way that we could do it better, right? So I created an actual service. It's the first time it had ever been done anywhere in the world, where we had private bud tenders come into the party and serve people. So for 8 years now, we've been serving guests at private parties, events, and weddings to make sure they're not over consuming or they're getting the right products, make sure their joints are rolled properly, and they're having a good time.
I think I majored in that in college.
Yes.
Joint rolling 101. Well, since you're here on the set, I may as well introduce you. We have Danny Baranowski, pretty good, and Tina Ullman, President and Vice President of the Cannabis Chamber of Commerce, or the Chamber of Commerce?
Whoa.
No.
Chamber of Cannabis.
Chamber of
Even
Cannabis.
more clever.
Even more, the COC.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Okay, so I don't want to just have you sitting here. We have to kind of involve everybody. In 2020, Danny co-founded the Chamber of Cannabis, that was right in front of me, a 501c6. What's the difference between a C6 and a C3?
A C3 focuses on community and religious organizations and cannot endorse candidates. And a C6 actually focuses on business organization and can endorse candidates.
And that's important that we are electing representatives that support sensible cannabis policy and are moving the industry forward.
All right, I'm going to read a little bit. In 2020, Danny co-founded the Chamber of Cannabis, a 501c6 nonprofit, Nevada's largest cannabis business trade organization, composed of over 400 industry leaders and 70 businesses looking to build a more inclusive industry community, restore justice, and move cannabis commerce forward. The Chamber successfully took a major role in passing AB 341, the Cannabis Consumption Lounge Bill, which you believe was a pivotal moment in cannabis history, as well as AB 400 for cannabis DUI reform. Who wants to talk to that?
Oh, I'd love to start. So let's talk cannabis DUI reform. Prior to this law passing, in Nevada, the rule was if you were pulled over, just like with alcohol, they were drawing your blood, which is a non-scientific and unjust way to measure cannabis inebriation. So what ended up happening is, for example, my friend had a seizure driving home from work in a garden, and they drew her blood. She had not consumed in over 20 hours, but because she smelled like cannabis and had it in her blood, went to jail, woke up in handcuffs in the hospital. So this was, again, it's a non-scientific way. There's currently no way to measure how high someone is at any moment. And so until that happens, it's imperative that we protect patients, we protect tourists, and we protect everyone coming here to enjoy these consumption lounges.
Well, this is kind of close to home for you a little bit, right? At age 18, you were charged with a cannabis felony, received a plea deal that changed your life, recognizing others continue to be unjustly penalized for cannabis through you to participate in the legal industry and fuel your commitment to advocacy.
Yeah, so listen to this. I got busted smoking weed. I'd only been smoking weed for 21 days in my life. Okay, so I grew up Mormon in Salt Lake City, Utah. I had a charmed childhood, but listen, I love to laugh and I love to have fun. I'm having a great time here. Thanks to you. Oh, a former Mormon, a foreman.
I
Yes.
heard that. I call it recovering Mormon.
Yeah, so I, tried weed for, the first time in my life and absolutely loved it. Was smoking weed and ended up getting busted by a forest ranger. Forest rangers are under federal jurisdiction. So I went to court and it was the United States of America versus Danielle Baranowski, and I ended up serving 17 months of federal probation, 3 times a week, drug testing. I was in drug addiction classes with real drug addicts, and I had to pay a fine of $7,000, which felt like $1 million. But I'm not the only one that was affected by failed policy, and my partner in justice, Tina, also has experienced this, and please.
Yeah, I'm from Detroit, Michigan, where definitely it was a city that was destroyed by the war on drugs, and my family members spent almost 30 years in prison for a little coke and a little weed, and we can find that amount of narcotics on the floor at the Spearmint Rhino right now, so it's pretty unjust. And then actually when I was in 9th grade, my boyfriend of 3 years went to prison for being at a hotel party where there was a drug deal that went down, and he had to take a plea deal. So we're both definitely experienced the criminal injustice system firsthand, so that's kind of our basis. And then we love the plant, of course, and then everything else piled on top of that is just really our passion. And
I have a
commitment.
story.
Let's hear
I have
it.
a story. So here's my story. I got divorced. I don't even remember what year it was. It was about 20 years ago. And I used to go to Calico Basin at Red Rock to go for a walk every day, and almost every day. And I would go, and I had a convertible car, and I would take a couple of puffs before I go on my walk. So I pulled up to Calico Basin, I took a couple of puffs, and I see a ranger circling back. And he comes back, and I see him, and I put it in the ashtray, and he says, do you have anything illegal in your car? And I said, no, officer, I don't. He said, get out of the car. Okay, so I get out of the car. So I'm going to ask you again, do you have anything illegal in your car? And I said, no, officer, I don't. And he said, I'm going to ask you one more time before I get the dogs out here. Do you have anything illegal in your car? I said, yes, I've got a roach in the ashtray, but I just got divorced, and my ex-wife won't let my children talk to me, and I'm going for a walk in the car. And he says, okay, get it out. I want you to stamp on the rock. I did. I stamped it out. He said, I've been divorced too. Smoke at home. Go on your walk. I'm going to let you off the hook, but I've been divorced as well. Go have a good walk, but do it at home. No, this is before it was legal. So he let me off the hook. Only because I got blurted it out. Yeah, I've been divorced. My kids don't talk to me.
Okay,
So
next time I'm
that.
going to try that.
Try that story. I'm going to bounce back to you. Andrew's oversees regulated cannabis dispensaries and cannabis hospitality operations in over 8 states. As a trusted consultant, Andrew has won dozens of licenses for his clients in multiple regions throughout the United States and highly competitive markets. How does that work out for you?
It is very stressful. You have, in some cases, multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars riding on the applications you're putting in for people to win these licenses. And when these licenses are won in these competitive states, in some cases they're worth millions of dollars just for the paper alone to have the right to have these licenses. So that's called a merit-based process, when the state looks at your entire team, all of your documents and materials, to make sure that you're capable of running a cannabis business. So I assist with all of the boring paperwork that kind of covers your ass in the end, to make sure that you can get a license initially and cover all the operations when it does open.
Are you an attorney?
I'm not. I wanted to be a lawyer as a kid, but this is the closest I can get without having to go to
I
school.
wanted to be an astronaut, but
Same.
it didn't work out.
Yeah, you know.
Let's stay on point a little bit. Let's talk about the recent lounges. So, explain, if you will, the way I understand it is that if you have a dispensary license, there's about 20 of them that have been given out to open lounges. The only one that I know of is the one on the tribal community at Paiute that,
That's Nuwu.
how'd you say?
Nuwu.
Nuwu. I always get it wrong because I'm high all the time. Nuwu. But what is that? Am I right? You have to have a dispensary license to open a lounge?
That is only a small part of it, right? Dispensaries, basically, if they already had an existing retail license, they were allowed to add an attached or adjacent lounge to their existing property. And they also, if you didn't hear, there's also independent license holders that were able to win licenses through a lottery process earlier as well. So there's actually going to be 20 more of those lounges in the state. So those are folks that don't have existing dispensing licenses. So we're going to have a good mixture of dispensary attached and non-dispensary attached that can kind of go anywhere that those owners decide that they can put them within the jurisdiction that they chose.
Explain the process if you could.
As far as
Applying for a license.
so in this case with Nevada, they actually did it a little different. I believe the state was a little timid this time around after the lawsuits that they had with the initial or the last dispensing round. They went with a license lottery this time, where you had to basically put very rudimentary and basic information forward, pay your lottery fee, and then they did a computerized drawing and selected who won those licenses.
What was the fee? What was the lottery fee?
It was $10,000 for non-social equity applicants, and then $2,500 for social equity applicants, and then dispensaries had to pay $100,000 to get theirs.
And we were able to have a big influence in how that bill was created. Our Assemblyman Steve Yeager, who's now the Speaker of the House and just an awesome representative, he came to us and many other organizations and he said, hey, if you get me a business proposal and I like it, I'll carry the bill. So we worked on that. We formed the Chamber of Cannabis with our colleagues in the industry like Chef Stacy, and the fine folks at Connect, and just people who really cared about creating a different kind of commerce and really expanding cannabis access. Also making sure people aren't criminalized, of course. So Steve Yeager actually carried that bill. We wanted to make sure that social equity applicants, those who have been affected by failed cannabis policy, not just drug, it is unfortunate it wasn't both, got licenses and were affordable for just entering, then independent folks, and then dispensaries as well.
So you're part of a grow-up co-op?
Yeah, so Danny and I actually started our own business after being in the cannabis industry for 5 years, overseeing sales and marketing operations for a few different companies. And we saw a need for an agency that was conscientious and intentional, and we wanted to work with businesses that were similar to us.
And we wanted to position brands to be ready for consumption lounges, and we wanted to bring brands to Nevada that were ready for consumption lounges. We've got enough pre-rolls, we've got enough vapes, but what's the next innovative thing? What are people going to want to consume? And how are we going to get these people from Iowa to have an enjoyable experience at a consumption lounge?
Yeah.
It's time to innovate, and we're ready to make that happen.
Well, first of all, they're in Iowa, so.
No, when they come
They're
here.
glad to be here. And even though it's called a lounge, it really should be called a venue. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
lounge really paints this connotation of this smoky cigar lounge. We have to think so much bigger than that. Think of a vegan restaurant, plant-based, that you can also have plant medicine. Think of any business model that works right now and add cannabis to it, especially when it comes to restaurants, health and wellness, and event spaces.
You know, I kind of think of Planet 13 a little bit, you know, because I know that they, originally when they built it, they thought about having a lounge there and having music and having it be like, kind of like in the old coffee shop experience with, you know, like a folk singer and, you know, people getting high.
Anywhere we would want to go.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's simple.
All right, so here's some questions. What cannabis lounge models work the best, Andrew?
Well, it depends, right? As far as works best, it could be obviously anything that has a hospitality component attached to it already that's already working, as Tina had mentioned already, right? I like to say cannabis really is just the social lubricant that makes the hospitality model work a little bit better. So anything you can do with alcohol already, you can replace. What I would like to see, something like a steakhouse with cannabis, or
I just like that you use the word lubricant.
Yeah. Really slid that in there.
You think I'm gonna let that go? You think I'm gonna let that lube?
You had him at lubricant.
All right, ladies,
facts.
same question.
I was gonna say, can I finish?
I'm sorry.
Throw some lube on there. Hold on.
Lubricant.
We got too involved with the lubricant.
KY, is there another use for it?
The issue with cannabis right now is all of these things take a lot of money to start, and taxation is very, very heavy in the cannabis space.
35%?
Even more than that with 280E, which is a whole nother topic we can get into. Let's just say these when you're selling cannabis, you're taking a major hit when you're only selling cannabis, which is why hospitality is so important to these models. In order for these to be profitable and really make an impact in the way that they're supposed to, I believe that hospitality allows us to monetize in the ways in Nevada, unlike any other place in the world, for cannabis lounges.
Yeah.
So, and that's a testament to what you guys did on the forefront with actually passing this.
Thank you. We would totally agree with that statement. You know, Las Vegas is the best in hospitality, dining, adult entertainment, shows, comedy. Why would we not be the
Why
best?
you look at me for that?
Well, you've been cracking the jokes all day.
Yeah.
Probably all your whole life. Why wouldn't we be the best in cannabis?
Right.
Especially as tourism is changing. We partnered with the California Cannabis Tourist Association and have a great resource in Brian Applegarth, and he has so much information about how tourism is changing. Our habits are
Say his
changing.
name again.
Brian Applegarth. He's our man.
Shout out,
He's
Brian
probably one of
Apple.
the smartest people we know. But, you know, people don't want to come here and gamble all the time. The death to the mega club. Nobody wants to
Yeah,
do
they
that
do.
anymore. Not
Yeah,
all
they want to come here and
generation,
gamble all
Not
the
everyone.
time.
Not everybody. And we have to also attract the 40 and under, you know, consumers.
Listen.
Look at festivals.
Exactly, yeah. The biggest threat to the casinos is online gaming. Point, period, blank. So they need to start thinking about innovative ways for people to have fun. Have you been to Area 15? Is there any gambling there? Not a single thing. It's
No.
all about these interactive, immersive experiences.
Yeah,
And let's be real,
everything has to
everything
be
is.
immersive.
Hold on. But everything's
on.
better with a little bit of weed and or whatever else sort of plant medicine you want to dabble in. See, that's not for me to judge, but I do know that expanding your mind and being more open-minded and things that are, you know, more natural and organic, that's what the consumer of today wants to experience.
And people are smoking everywhere anyway. So it's irresponsible capitalism that when Question 2 formed, there was
Irresponsible capitalism?
Hell yes.
I love that.
Oh, yes.
Irresponsible capitalism.
It really is,
Yes,
right?
it was,
And
yeah.
you create legal cannabis for adults, but
Can I
where are
tell
we
you
going to
something?
consume it?
I'm paying less for pre-rolls now than I did in 1972.
Yes,
I'm getting
You're
like
welcome.
pre-rolls for $8, $6.
It's commoditizing.
right.
That's
It's
simple
amazing
economics,
to me.
baby.
There's also
Yeah.
a lot of flour in the market, so that definitely has brought the price down. And unfortunately, like, it's just competitive. So, but the good for the consumer. But we do want to find that sweet spot, right, where the consumer has a good deal and businesses still can be profitable. As what Andrew said, there is very low profit margins. People think you're making millions. The state's made over $159 million in tax revenue that has gone to our schools. But we also could be doing other things, mental health, addiction, giving small business loans to people that don't have millions, like all of us. So we have so many ideas, and luckily we've been able to use our platform to tell the legislator and the CCB our ideas, and we're not afraid to do it.
How about Tick Seegerblom?
We love Tick Sager.
You mean
man.
the godfather of pot?
We're gonna get Tick. We're gonna invite you on here, buddy.
Tick Sager-Bloom is Batman and Steve Yeager is Robin, and that was self-proclaimed by them.
I'm
So
gonna get those guys on our little
100%.
podcast here. What types of lounges can we expect to see?
Literally anything you can put your the laws have allowed us so much flexibility that it's almost hard to pinpoint exactly what you could do. A nightclub, you could do, like I said, an infused steakhouse, Ladies, what else have you seen or heard so far?
Yoga studio, arts and crafts, spa, massage, wellness.
Look at
restaurants.
semi quick service food and beverage, right? We look at the Panera Bread model, which is like everywhere. We love Taco-Tarian. Those are the homies downtown.
Taco Terry?
Yeah, Taco-Tarian. We'll take you there, and it's
What's that?
plant-based. It is a all-vegan taco shop down in the
8:30.
Arts District.
Oh,
Yeah, you could have breweries, but it doesn't have alcohol in it. Instead, it's cannabis. There's so many
I
options.
don't know Taco Terry.
Okay, well, we'll go there.
Okay,
Never heard of
I know.
Taco-Tarian.
Taco Terry.
Yeah, it's popular with the cannabis crew.
Is it
And
Taco Tuesday?
It can be
It
in a
can't
couple
be.
days.
What makes Nevada different from any other place on the earth for cannabis lounges?
We're allowed to sell on site and we're allowed to infuse on site,
Mm-hmm.
which is unlike anywhere else in the entire world. With the exception of Amsterdam and Spain, I don't necessarily count those in the same way that we have. We have a full license structure here, which makes us much different than Europe. But as far as what we're allowed to do in these lounges, it's by and far the best regulatory structure for operations that I've seen anywhere on the planet.
And you've been to all over.
I've been in a lot of places doing the same thing.
Was Colorado really the first,
Right.
most liberal?
I was just about ready to say that. In 2015, we pushed a neighborhood use initiative called I-300 in Denver that allowed existing bars and restaurants to attach a small lounge or smoking area, designated consumption area, onto existing restaurants for a place for people to consume. But they failed because of very strict local rules and the inability to sell anything. So they just added on a patio where people could smoke, but people are smoking outside anyway as it is. You need to have a structure that allows you to create new products or create new experiences to bring people in to sell product. It would be like having a bring your own bar, right? The bring your own models do not work. And Colorado started off with the bring your own models. And we're starting to slowly shift away from that, thank God.
But I will say this, like originally we did want both models, and here's why. Let's say you are a hairstylist or a barber, and you own your own shop, and you want to create an experience where people can come to your place of business that are 21 and up and partake while they're getting their hair cut. I think you should be able to do that if you're the business owner.
You took a left turn on me right there.
Why?
You're getting highway, you're getting your haircut.
Hell yeah, barbershops are social places, right?
Listen,
People
I get high
come
before I
around.
get my hair cut every
Yeah,
time. So
shoot,
I'm
I
just
like
being
that today.
honest. Yeah,
But
on
you know,
Monday,
there's no
so.
cookie cutter recipe. Luckily, this did get approved and passed, and we are gonna set the bar and go higher and higher every year.
Well, I want to set the bar. I want to go to the bar. What can customers expect when visiting a cannabis lounge?
I think that they can expect some extreme amount of education. In Nevada, we have the strictest regulations in the country, but what that has resulted in is a connoisseur level consumer base. So on our regulations, we have these chemical organic compounds called terpenes, and it's a little bit, I don't know how well versed you are, but there's
I know
THC.
about terpenes.
Okay.
I want my THC over 25.
That's not a terpene. So that's cannabinoid. And so terpenes, real quick. So terpenes are these organic compounds that provide like wellness effects. They occur naturally in nature. Ones that you might be familiar with are pinene. That's what makes pine needles smell. They're nature's pollinators or detractors. And so like mango is found in myrcene. It's the most common in cannabis, and that's what provides the couch lock effect. And so long story short, these organic compounds, essential oils. Yes.
I want to take a break for our viewers out here. I want to explain the difference between sativa and indica. Very simply, indica is in the couch.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Sativa, more creative.
Yes,
Up.
euphoric.
Silly.
Yeah, definitely woosah. It's very easy to get annoyed in today's world. You get
You
annoyed
think?
by yes. So cannabis woosahs your mind, calms your ass down, right? And then you can be a better person. But these lounges are going to be freaking awesome. They're going to be fun. People don't have to think they're doing anything where they're going to get in trouble first and foremost or possibly get a fine. It's going to bring people together. That's what this plant does. All types of folks that probably would have never met. And it's going to give us an alternative to drinking.
If people want to, well, we don't need an alternative.
We do.
We don't need an alternative. We need
People
to do
like
everything.
options. Come on.
We need to
Yeah.
enjoy liquor. We need to enjoy weed. We just need to
Well,
enjoy our life.
Okay,
Hold
yeah,
on,
We
we want
agree with that.
we want access and the choice of adults to choose whatever they want.
Yeah.
Period.
Whatever's gonna make you happy.
As long as you're not
Right?
hurting yourself or someone else.
Yeah.
We've got choices.
That's
Happy
right.
or sad? What do you pick?
Happy all
Happy.
day.
Wakes
right?
up skipping.
So if people want to join, what did you say?
She wakes up skipping out of bed. Former Mormon.
You know, church songs.
Okay. If people want to join the chamber, what's involved?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us a couple different places. Definitely Instagram at Chamber of Cannabis, LinkedIn, our website, which is now relaunched and awesome. And you can find us in the streets. We also work in the industry. Obviously, the Grow Up Co-op is our company, and we're available. So
Website.
I've got a couple of I don't know what these are.
Handles.
Yeah.
And all these are on Insta?
Yeah.
Chamber of Cannabis.
Yep.
The Gypsy Sorceress. Who would that?
That's me.
Gypsy.
You already know.
And you can call me Teapot.
That's me.
You can call me Teapot. If people are interested and they want to get a lounge license or they want to get a license, would that be something you can help them with?
Of course. It's what I
How do they-
specialize in, it's what I love.
How do they find you?
LinkedIn's probably your best bet. Been using a lot of LinkedIn lately. Andrew Muir on LinkedIn, M-I-E-U-R-E. It's a lot of vowels, and it's French, but
And the licenses have all been awarded.
But
just
the
to let
licenses haven't
viewers
awarded
know.
here, but
Yes.
there are a lot of pushes. New Jersey, New York's going to be the real next big one coming
Right.
online for dispensing licenses and lounges there. So Nevada's pretty much spoken for the next foreseeable future.
So you keep up with every state and what's going on around the country.
If it has to do with cannabis hospitality or dispensing, I'm all about
You're the
it.
man.
We're weed geeks.
Yeah.
And the best way to find you again is
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. I'm gonna actually spell your name out here. Andrew Miure, M-I-E-U-R-E, M-I-E-U-R-E.
That is correct. M-I-E-U-R-E.
Miure. And are you French? You speak French?
I believe so.
Come on, Debbie.
I do not speak French though.
She caught you on that one. Last statement, last thought, last anything for our audience.
Phew. Well, we are so privileged to be in this space and be living in a state that legalizes this plant. We have a lot of work to do, and if you love the plant and you want to make sure that the industry is built well, we encourage you to contact us and let's smoke some weed together. Yeah.
Smoke weed every day.
Wrap up, anything else? Smoke weed every day, that's a pretty good wrap up. Andrew, anything else?
If you're invested in, or invested,
If you're
not
invested,
invested yet.
Andrew's
If you're-
drinking with me here.
Yeah, it's the whiskey. If you're interested in investing in any lounges, let me know because I have a lot of clients that have independent licenses and not as much money as they should for the lounges that they're trying to build. So any investment opportunities, hit me up. Let's get you set up and get you involved in the industry.
And if you missed any of that, you can send me an email, Jonathan Scott. Send it at news1lasvegas@gmail.com. That's news number one, not spelled out, news1lasvegas@gmail.com. You can also find us on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Buzzsprout, and all the major podcasts, Spotify things, and all the social media, Jonathan Scott LV, or Vegas Nonstop. Hey Vegas, we're all over the place. We thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for joining us. I hope it's been fun. It's been fun for me. I want to thank Richard Giacovino and everybody here at Hey Vegas. Lou Magelowitz, thank you for opening up. Chef Stacy, Tony Abugano. Again, we hope you had fun. We hope you're going to have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful life. Eat well, party hard, my friend Jonathan Scott. Peace out.
Peace, love, cannabis.